Welcome, welcome to Remodelers on the Rise Live. It's Tuesday, April 6th, 2021. Happy second quarter of the year. How was your first quarter, by the way? You tracking things? How were your goals that you set out at the beginning of the year? Are you still on pace to hit them? Do they need to be reevaluated? Do they need to be refocused on? Think about that. It's a good time of the year to do that. The show today is going to be a little bit of a variety pack, which often they are, a bit of a variety pack. And one thing that is a good reminder for myself, and it's a good reminder for all of you remodelers to hear as well. We work hard, I think sometimes too hard, to get really creative with content, to come up with new things to say, new photos to use, new videos, new things. And oftentimes what we really need to do is just keep hammering home key messages, clear messages. I think this comes in play when we're talking about the sales process and how we explain who we are and how we work. It's about not getting wore out from always talking about this is how we work and sharing your process and realizing that the people that you're talking to are new and they haven't heard it before. And in our marketing efforts, you have some key messages that you want to get across of who you are, what you're about, the type of work you do, and be reminded that continuing to repeat it, and yes, find new angles, and yes, find new ways of saying it, but your key messages need to continue to get out there. So when I look at this big list of things that I have to share with you today, I could look at it and go, well, I've already shared those things on the Facebook group and even on the podcast before, and maybe I need to come up with new things. But I know that repetition is what leads to action and implementation. We need to hear things multiple times, and I'll put a little spin on it today that maybe you haven't heard before, or I'll say something that maybe you've heard me say, many months ago, but you weren't ready to take action on it. But I caught you today in a mindset and at a point in your business or your life where you are going to do something about it. So my whole spiel there is don't be afraid to kind of go back to the same well. Repeat it. That's how a lot of clear messaging gets through. You have 10 social media posts that are kind of your top 10 posts of all time. Don't be afraid to reuse those. They're going to perform well for you. You have key messages that you use when you're in front of a sales prospect. Make sure that you're sharing that each and every time you have the opportunity. All right. So without further ado, let's go through and hit on some of these topics for today's show. First one is rate your overall business right now from 1 to 10. And you guys can toss it in the comments if you're watching this live. If you're watching this on a repeat, feel free to even comment after the fact. If you're listening to the podcast, you can write it down. You can reach out to me, shoot me an email, shoot me a text. It says rate your overall business right now from 1 to 10 and share why. Share why you gave it that rating. 1 equals terrible. 10 equals as good as you can imagine it. The power in this question is in making you pause and actually wrestle with it and think about it. It's easy to say, oh yeah, business is fine. It's kind of like when you walk up to somebody and say, how you doing? And their instinctive response is, I'm fine. How are you? They didn't really think about it. They just said what the first thing that comes to mind. But when you actually pause and think about it, go ahead and rate your business right now, 1 to 10. Be real with it and share why. When we think about that and when we get clear with that, it starts to pop up maybe some encouragement if things are going well. And wow, I was at a 6, 3 months ago, but I've done this and this, and it's really improved. Or it highlights pain points. It highlights bottlenecks. It highlights areas that need your attention to improve. That's the power in this question. Hey, Sean, what's up? He says. Not much, my man. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so that's the first item that I wanted to share with you guys today. Next. This one says, always be closing. Sure, right? ABC, always be closing. We need to keep sales going. But I also kind of grabbed this and said, but just remember to always be recruiting as well. Yes, even if you don't have open positions. I have a crystal ball, and the crystal ball, when I looked at it the other day, said, in 2024, we're still going to have challenges finding quality carpenters and quality trade partners. It is here to stay, my friends. But if you are a business that is always recruiting, building a culture that people want to work for, working on your leadership and management skills so that it is a enjoyable, rewarding, growing place for people to be a part of, you won't have as hard of a time recruiting and building a team around you as people who don't put any focus or priority on that. And this message is that's a reminder right there, but also the reminder of always be recruiting, always be mentioning it, always be talking about it. You are always looking for great quality carpenters or fill in the blanks. The worst case that can happen is if you're always recruiting and somebody reaches out to you or responds to something and you don't have a spot for them, then you have to say, we don't have a spot for you right now, but I'm so glad that we talked. And if something comes up or something changes, which it often does, you're going to be the first person I call. To have a list of people that you can reach out to, that's the power in always be recruiting. So that is a reminder for y'all. Sean Canada, thank you for clicking the old like button, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Next up says this. Have an electrician you love working with? Awesome! Exclamation mark. But only give them 90% of your work and give 10% to someone else. Have a backup option for all of your trades. When you have all of your eggs in the basket, one basket, and something changes with them, they get super busy, something happens in their business, they have a couple employees that quit on them and they can't handle as much work, you're in a pickle. We've talked about, in this little phase, we've talked about eggs and pickles so far. What other things can I bring up as illustrations of this point? Maybe we'll just stick with eggs and pickles. You're in a pickle. You need to have a second option for all of your trades. You cannot be 100% reliant. Now, do we like to have loyalty to our trades? Do we like to build that camaraderie and that relationship and that know, like, and trust and that solid process with your primary trade? Absolutely. But you also need to have a backup plan. So I share that just to remind you of that. That could be your takeaway from listening today. But I want to make sure that you're not having all of your eggs in one basket. We don't want you in a pickle. Are we making egg salad sandwiches? Bailey is asking. I would say that there's probably, if you charted amount of egg salad sandwiches that are being made across the fruited plains of the United States, I would say that this week is probably the high watermark for that. There is an awful lot of hard-boiled eggs that have been colored or created in the last week coming off of Easter. So I am not personally making it. It is quite delicious. The Masters golf tournament, I don't know if you knew this about me, I really like golf. And the Masters golf tournament makes a delectable egg salad sandwich for the people that are so privileged and so fortunate to get to go to the tournament. There we have it. Next up is this one. This one says, I don't swear, but here goes nothing. Go get some more, and then it says DAMN, Google reviews. Do it. It matters. But Kyle, it's so hard to get Google reviews. Nobody wants to do it. Stop it. Stop making excuses. Find some people that you recently completed a project for. Find somebody that you did a project for a year ago, 2 years ago. Find a trade partner that absolutely loves you. They can leave you a Google review. Search engine optimization reasons, it makes a world of sense. Somebody refers you, so they've been referred by maybe one of your previous clients. Oftentimes they will type in your business name and find out some things about you. And one of the first things most likely that they're going to see are your Google reviews. You need to make sure you got double digits of them at least. Start with getting double digits. There's a lot of you that have one, maybe two, maybe three Google reviews, and you're one knucklehead away from giving you a one review to make you look like not a very good, strong, reputable business. So please go get some Google reviews. You can do it. Even if you just pull up your cell phone, open up a text, think of a client that loves you. There's many of them. And just send them a text that says, can you do me a favor? ? Send. Don't tell them what it is. You will get a response very quickly. And then you'll say, oh, thanks so much. I am focused this month on getting several new Google reviews, and I need your help. Here's how you do it. Click here, bada bing, bada boom. Okay, Google reviews. Next up, we're just cruising right along. Oh, it looks like a little bit of a commercial break here. Just so you guys know, there's a course that yours truly is doing. It starts in a couple short weeks, and it's titled How to Make More Money in Your Remodeling Business. If you don't know your numbers, if you are overwhelmed by your numbers, if you say things like, where is the money going? Am I charging enough for my work? I don't know why there's not more money in my bank account. I don't know how to read my profit and loss statement well. Don't even get started trying to explain markup and margin to me. That's too advanced. If those are things that you're saying, my question is, how much longer are you going to allow that to be the case? When are you going to fix it? Did you know that the top 20% of remodelers in our industry know their numbers? They've spent the time, they've put the effort in, they've worked hard, they've gotten the training so that they understand why they charge what they charge, how they charge what they charge, how to read and explain your P&L statement, job costing, etc. And there is a direct correlation between the people who have dedicated time and effort to this versus the people that are letting it kind of slide and not putting the focused effort in it. So if that's you who needs to get this thing figured out, join my course. I bet you Bailey's going to put a comment in the old channels to get figured out your numbers. How to make more money in your remodeling business. Starts April 21st. Reach out if you have any questions. Feel free to text me if you have any questions. 517-902-8450. End commercial break. The next one up here on today's show. Does anybody have any takeaways so far, by the way? Feel free to throw a comment out there. We've hit on the importance of slowing down and kind of rating how your business is right now. Talked about always be recruiting. Talked about making sure that not all of your eggs are in one basket when it comes to your trades and making sure you have a backup plan. Talked about going out there and getting some Google reviews. Talked about this amazing course that's coming up. And this next one says, stop always giving your team the answer to their questions. Answer their question with a question. Teach, guide, lead. This is something that doesn't naturally happen for most people, especially when people are coming to you and you know the answer. Oftentimes, we will just go bam and give them the answer and send them on your way. The problem with that is that we didn't let them engage in figuring out the solution. We didn't take the opportunity to teach them. We didn't take the opportunity to make them slow down and take the responsibility to make decisions. Is that how you're always going to run your business? Everything runs through you. You're only going to be able to grow so far, and you're going to be busy. You're going to be fielding a lot of calls. So a simple way to kind of tweak that is work on answering your team's questions with questions. By the way, it also allows you, even if you were to give the answer as it goes forward, when you ask more qualifying questions, you understand the situation more and you give a stronger, better answer as well. So this is a skill that you can learn. It takes some time to be thoughtful about this, to slow down enough to do it. And it's something that if you're not doing it, works really well. And there's the post. Learn more about the course and or sign up here. By the way, Bailey, I saw that your mother wished you and Drew a happy anniversary. I just got that information moments before the show started. So happy 7th anniversary. You two lovers. Okay, moving on. This one says, your initial phone call or Zoom call with a prospect should be 10 to 15 minutes. If it's 2 to 3 minutes, you're doing it wrong. If your initial phone call with a prospect is 2 to 3 minutes, what that means is that you're calling them back, you know that they're doing a kitchen project, you got their address, and you compared calendars and you booked it. On the surface, sounds reasonable. The problem with that is you don't know if that's a good lead. You don't know if that's going to be a time waster. You don't know anything about them. You have not also taken the time to build any kind of relationship or know, like, or trust. Your initial phone call or Zoom call should be 10 to 15 minutes. It should start out with, thank you so much for reaching out to us. Do you have 10 or 15 minutes to talk? That's a lot different ask than, do you have a minute? right? Do you have 10 or 15 minutes to talk? And you should not be shooting from the hip. You should have a project discovery sheet, the different questions that you want to ask. And more, I am becoming more and more compelled that that initial conversation can be done via Zoom. Oftentimes they'll be home and they can show you the kitchen or the bathroom. Oftentimes you can, when you're using Zoom, you're seeing them, you're reading their body language. It's just such a better way to build relationship and to ask questions and get to know them and their project. So this is an incredibly important moment in the process. If you want more training on that, feel free to reach out to me. I have a couple webinars I've done. The first session of my Remodel Your Sales Process course is on the initial phone call, but make sure that you're taking the time to do that well. All right, we're cruising right along, folks. I hope you enjoy this format. I'd love for a couple of you to toss in a comment or two of maybe a takeaway thus far, or if you have another statement like I'm making here or a question, feel free to toss that in there. I love answering your questions live on the Remodelers on the Rise show. Cool. This one says, if your QuickBooks is a mess, stand up, walk over to a mirror, and blame the person you see. Well, that's not very friendly. Then figure out how to get it organized. It's important. What this is meaning is, well, I've got a bookkeeper. Well, I've got an accountant. But if your QuickBooks is a mess, as the owner or leader of your business, that's on you. You need to figure out how to get that organized. And it's incredibly important. If you are neglecting entering in all of your invoices, all of the details on a project, details of the time sheets, etc., that means you're not getting proper job costing done, or things are happening weeks or months after, and you're trying to read reports and it's already in the rear view mirror far too long, far too far away. So we need to make sure, whether it's QuickBooks, whether it's whatever system that you use, make sure that you're working hard to get it organized and sharp, that every project cost is applied to that particular project so that you can do job costing. It's important. And I wanted to remind you guys. Next up, this says, talk to a client this week who told me they're letting go of a bad employee. I told them, quote unquote, I know it's hard, but I'm proud of you. Ugh, it is so hard to let employees go. But if they are a bad employee, if they continually disregard your processes, your requests, no change after you've provided further training, if they are driving down the mood and making it a miserable place to work for your great employees, you have a major problem. But Kyle, I got to get the work done. I know he's a knucklehead, but I've got work to do. Yeah, you know how hard it's going to be when your top guy and your top gal leave because Johnny is making it a miserable experience to come to work? We underappreciate how much of an impact a bad seed can have on your overall business. I have heard it time and time again, people going, I finally did it. I finally kicked that person to the curb. I waited 2 years too long. It is just like this breath of fresh air in the business. People have just a hop in their step, some bounce in their step. If you have something that if somebody that needs to go, not because they're a bad person, not because this or that, but they need to go, you need to do it. You need to do it soon. It is having an impact on your stress level and the enjoyment of the rest of your team. That's all I got to say about that. There might be one of you listening to this that struck you right between the eyes. Do something about it. The next one up here says, be brave and use the video on your phone. Show off something cool on one of your job sites and post it to social media. Post it to your Facebook page. Send it to that prospect that really was talking the other day about job site cleanliness, and you just walked one of your active job sites and showed all of the things you do to make sure that job site is clean and tidy. Do it. At the very least, do the first part. Be brave and use the video on your phone and try to create something. Here's a couple tips. One is start it out, know what you're going to say, and know how you're going to end. So, hey, Kyle here with Kyle's Remodeling. What I wanted to show you today is fill in the blank. Don't try to show 6 different things. Show one little thing. Show that cool new faucet. Show that that dust protection. Show the build clean system. Show the way that you just opened up this wall. Show how you trim out that window so that it is leak proof. Show the underlay underneath that shower. Just show one specific thing. Make it 45 seconds, 50 seconds. Explain it, what the value of it is, why you guys do it, and then say, thanks so much. Have a wonderful day. Figure out how you're gonna end it so you don't stumble at the end. But you don't have to give your phone number. You don't have to give your website address. If they're watching it, they've already probably got that information. But create content. There are so many interesting things happening on all of your job sites. And the more you practice how to create content, the better you're going to be, like anything. So bust out that phone, turn the video on, and show cool things that are going on in your job sites. Some things might just be super basic to you, but they're really interesting to others. There's interesting things going on. There's little details. There's little things you do that differentiates you, that make that project hold up over time. That is a cool new product or feature. Show those things off. The other way you could go about this is show more of your design and project development. Take a video of a design you're working on. Show a video of some selections. And let me stop saying video. Take a photo and write 2 sentences about it. Create content about your process. Give people insight into how the remodeling process works from start to finish. There is an immense amount of examples and content that you can create each and every day. Just start. Video if you're brave. Taking a photo, put a couple sentences together, post out there. Oh, that got a little engagement. Oh, people kind of like that. Huh. I took a picture of my lead carpenter kind of making a cheesy smile and talked about my wonderful lead carpenter that's been with us for 10 years. And that got more engagement than anything else I've posted. Maybe I should do that more often. Make content. People, you got a lot of hats that you wear starting now and going into the future years. It's harder to cut through the clutter. How are you going to differentiate your remodeling business? Keep creating content. One of the hats you wear is content creator. Good. Somebody's going back to the old, I had to fire a bad employee, and this person said, no jerks, no matter how talented. That's a line in the sand, right? Oh, he's my most talented lead carpenter. He is my most talented carpenter. But if he's a jerk and he's bringing down the team, and we've tried and tried and tried, he doesn't have a space here in the business. It's a hard line in the sand, but it matters. All right, cool. Next one up is change orders. Wow, you're really popping all over the place. You got marketing items, financial items, leadership items, employee items. Now we're talking production items. Yep. Welcome to the Remodeler Show, April 6th edition. This one says change orders. Be disciplined. Write them up, get them signed, collect the money, then do the work. I know it's hard. It ain't easy. But kind of, there's a lot of change orders where like we got to get quick, just verbal approval, and then we got to move forward with it. Yeah, there's occasionally 1 out of 10 that are like that. Those other 9 out of 10 takes you a little bit to write it up, get that sucker signed by the client, collect the check for that change order, then do the work. It is doable. This is doable. I mentioned earlier about the top 20% of remodelers. This is another example that I've seen. It is very rare that I'm talking to a remodeler over the years who I would consider in the top 20%, top 15, top 10% of our industry that allows a bunch of allowances or a bunch of change orders to sit out there, and then we figure it all out and we sort it all out at the very end of the project. Now, if you're in the top 20%, you write them up, you get them signed, you collect the money, then you do the work. You're disciplined, and you make sure that happens. Saving change orders for the end of the project is a wonderful way to leave a sour taste in your client's mouth. It's a wonderful way for you to sit there and look at those numbers and go, well, they're not super happy about this, that. I'm just going to charge half of what I should have charged for this change order. Then it eats into your gross profit. Be disciplined with change orders. Get them done. You can do it. You can do it. Okay, next up. Here's a quick one. This might be a takeaway for some of you. Do you need anything from me? Question mark. This is a good question for you to regularly ask your team. It's good leadership. Do you need anything from me? Before you get off the phone with that carpenter, hey, now that we're all set with that, do you need anything else from me? Anything else I can help with? Good leadership. Good way for them to feel they're supported, Okay, so that was a quick one. By the way, at the bottom of the screen, it says generate more repeat and referral work. Try Remodelers Autopilot for $1. If you go to remodelersautopilot.com, it is a simple, effective, wonderful way for you to stay in touch with all of your previous clients. Your previous clients are your most valuable marketing asset. And if you finish a project 2 years ago and they haven't heard from you in 2 years, you need Remodelers Autopilot. Try it for $1. What a deal. What a deal. All right. We got 4 more minutes left. I'm going to go a little rapid fire here. Even more rapid fire than we are. Here's another idea. Use the parking lot. What the parking lot is are ideas that you want to work on, that you want to implement, but not at this time. There are things we've got to focus on, fewer things. So there's ideas that, oh, I want to work on that, but we're not going to work on that this week or this month. I got to put that in the parking lot. I've got a list of ideas in the parking lot, and occasionally, once a month, once every other month, I review that parking lot and see if there's anything I need to kind of bring into the here and now and into my active to-do list and my active thing I'm focusing on. This is a way to just help you organize some of your to-do list and the things you want to implement. So there's a quick idea. Next one, charge more for your work. You're worth every penny. Tell that voice in your head to shut up. Next one, what's your expected gross profit dollars on the next job you're starting? You got to know it and then track to see what the actual is. Gross profit dollars, total sales minus cost of goods sold equals gross profit. That job that you're starting up, there is a number of gross profit dollars that you are expecting based on your estimate. You may be expecting $10,242 of gross profit on that project. If you can give me that number, that you're halfway home on job costing. Now we know what we're expecting. Then we need to track what our actual is. Are we having grippage where we're actually making more than what we were expecting on a certain phase? Do we have slippage? Wah, wah, wah. We don't like slippage. Is it costing us more than what we estimated? This helps us start getting this job costing in place. Job costing is incredibly important for a remodeler. Let me emphasize it even more and more dramatically. Job costing is absolutely, positively, incredibly important for the remodeler. If you're doing good job costing, you make more money. You become a better estimator because you're seeing where the slippage or grippage is. You become a stronger salesperson because you know I'm charging this and I need to charge that. You become a better manager of your production side because you understand and you have some fire in the belly of going, this is taking us longer than it is. We're going to be getting into, eating into our gross profit dollars, and we can't have that. What are we going to do to get this project going again? Get it going faster, better, stronger, more efficiently. Okay. We're going to dig into that quite a bit on the course on April 21st, how to make more money in your remodeling business. One piece of that, session number 5, is related to job costing. Rock and roll. Cool. So you guys were kind of quiet on the comments, but boy, we covered a lot of topics. Let me run through them quickly. Again, feel free to comment with your takeaway or shoot me a text message. I love getting those and interacting with you guys that way. 517-902-8450 with your takeaway. Talks about rating your overall business. Pause and think about what's working, what's not working. It's going to highlight an area for you to work on. Make sure you're always recruiting. Make sure you don't have all your eggs in one basket and you have a backup plan for all of your different trades. Shoot a text message to that client who loves you and have it say, "Can you do me a favor?" ? And get yourself a Google review today. Next one up. Stop always giving your team the answer to their questions. Answer their question with a question. This helps you teach and guide and lead. We talked a little bit about the initial phone call. Make sure that you have a plan for that. Make sure that your first impression with a new prospect is strong. If that call is lasting 2 or 3 minutes, you're doing it wrong and you're wasting time and you're not building a relationship. Make sure your Quickbooks is up to date. If it is disorganized, out of date, and a mess, take responsibility for it and work on solutions to fix it. Talked about a client of mine who was releasing a bad employee. And I said, I know it's hard, but I'm proud of you. One of the hardest things you have to do is to fire people. And there's somebody listening to this that has somebody that they need to fire. It is going to be better for the rest of your team and yourself and your business. You need to do it. Talked about creating content. Get in front of a video. Take a photo and show off something cool happening on your job site. There are so many things that show all of the little things that you do that really help you stand out. Show that in your marketing. Talked about change orders. Be disciplined. Write them up. Get them signed. Collect the money. Then do the work. And this nice leadership question. Do you need anything from me? It's a good one. Talked about the parking lot. Talked about charging more for your work. Talked about job costing. That's all I got for you today. I mean, that's a lot, but that's all I got for today's show. It is the bottom of the hour. You all move on to your next thing. Have a wonderful, productive afternoon. Please take a look at that course. If you don't know your numbers, it's limited to 15 slots. Once they're gone, they're gone. And I'd love to have you as part of that. And we'll talk to you again soon.